the decline crunch is a great core exercise for runners because it takes us a little bit past 180 degrees. Unlike your standard crunch or sit-up where you're sitting on the floor, all you can do is lower yourself to that 180 degree mark. And when we run, we go through more than that range of motion. As we push off, our legs come back behind us and we need to use our core to control that motion. So by doing the decline crunch, we lower the spot that we're able to lower ourselves down to. We get that a little bit lower, and in turn, we're able to work through a little bit more running specific range of motion. And we're gonna be able to work at that kind of end range of the motion your core is actually gonna be working on when you're running. So it's gonna help improve your core stability, and it's gonna help reduce some of your risk of injury as a runner. Let's take a look at how to do it. To set up for the incline crunch, you're gonna need a bench that has a decline function to it. So you need to be able to have your butt be higher than where your shoulders or your head will hit. Some of them will go down even lower than this. This one just has 3 settings on it, but there's a ton of different models out there. Whatever it is, you just need to have something that lets you do a decline here. You need to have something that you're able to hook your feet into on this side. To get set up for it, you're gonna sit your butt right at the edge of where it starts to drop off behind you. You're gonna get your feet in place, and then you're ready to go. To do the decline crunch, there's a few things that you need to keep in mind. So first off, we wanna make sure that our butt is right at the edge here. If you're too far forward, you're gonna hit your low back and you're not gonna be able to get kind of full activation of your abdominals. You wanna make sure you're scooted back nice and solid to the edge right here. The other thing is you wanna make sure that you maintain a nice solid back. So you wanna remember this is a fairly advanced movement. So unless you're very comfortable doing just a standard crunch and you've kind of accumulated a lot of time working on core exercises, you wanna make sure that you don't just start with this one because it is a little bit more advanced. We're going down a little farther than we normally would. So when we set ourselves up, we're gonna sit up nice and tall here. We wanna make sure that we have that back nice and flat and protected. We wanna make sure that we're keeping our neck nice and straight. So we don't wanna be hunched forward like this. To make it a little bit easier, you can keep your hands low across your shoulders here. From here, you're gonna scoot yourself back all the way down to here, and then you'll come all the way up. You lower till just about when you touch, and then you're gonna come all the way up again. So again, you're setting yourself up, you're staying nice and tall here, you're coming all the way down, and then all the way back up. To adjust the difficulty, the best thing that you can do is just change your arm position. So the easiest version is gonna be with your arms just across your chest right here. If you wanna make it a little bit more difficult, all you do is you raise your arms to being beside your head. That essentially raises your center of gravity, increases the lever arm, makes it a little bit more difficult. And finally, if you wanna make it more difficult, you can actually put your hands up overhead and you can do the movement that way. Because this is a more advanced exercise, you wanna make sure that you're very comfortable and you're okay with going through the crunch movement and lowering yourself down to this level. If you find that's a little bit above you, then what you can do in terms of modifications, number one, if you have a bench that has more than just a couple of angles that you can adjust it to, you can have a flat bench or even just a little bit of a decline. That's not gonna make you not have to go down quite as far. Alternatively, you can just work on kind of going through the crunch motion on a flat mat where you're a little bit more supported and work your way up to being able to get into this decline position. If you don't have a bench with a decline function, or if you don't have a bench that has attachments like this where you can kind of hook your feet in, there's a few different things you can do to still work on this exercise. So number one, if you don't have something here to hook your feet into, what you can do is you can use a kettlebell or a weight plate, just something that's gonna be a little bit heavier. And you can just put that, if you do a kettlebell, you can just put it right between your feet. You can kind of grab it with your feet and then you can still go back into that position. You just need something that's gonna help counterbalance you so you can lift yourself back up. If you're using something where you don't actually have a bench like this that declines, you can, if you have a bench, you can actually prop it up a little bit. You can set it up on a plate or something and you can decline just a regular flat bench down. Or alternatively, you could instead just substitute in a standard crunch. Again, you don't get that full range of motion of going all the way down into that decline position, but you're still gonna get probably about 90% of the benefit of doing just a standard crunch.